name is Mark Symes. I'm the Managing Director of Pylon Equipment Limited. Pylon Equipment Limited was a company which I started in 2006 after I'd sold my previous business and went to semi-retirement. The recession hit in 2008, which I seen as an absolute golden opportunity to buy lots of equipment in the UK market because of the recession. It hit UK especially very, very hard. I then started to find myself buying and selling and exporting, and before I knew it, I had become probably one of the biggest dealers in the country with used foundation equipment. This came in over a space of maybe 6 months. All of a sudden then I had to build a company around the success of the business, which was multiplying at such a rate. I'd never built a business back to front, whereas you build slowly with success, I had to build the business back to front. Very, very difficult, unusual, but nevertheless, it's been a very meteoric rise in what we do and how we do it. I've always thought of money as a good thing in life and a bad thing in life. It's something that you need, and I feel that if you're privileged to be able to have that money, then you should look after it wisely, because you're looking after it for the next generation of people, your next generation of family. And I was always led to believe and taught by my father, if you're lucky enough to do that as his son, that you should be able to hang on to this money and not have to no one would have to go through what I had to, starting at the very, very bottom, literally digging the holes and progressing to where I am today. So the lesson's been long and hard. It's not happened overnight, and there's been a lot of other good times over my lifetime that's put me in this position. But what I've always said is I count myself very, very lucky to be where I am today. Close Brothers effectively are the trustees of the Pylon Equipment Retirement Benefit Scheme, which they keep me and give me the guidance. They look after the VAT returns, they look after the rental agreements, they look after the lease agreements, they look at the capital values of the properties as and when they need to be valued. They effectively run the pension as an administrator. My first meeting with Close Brothers was with a chap called Ed, who I've known and worked with for many, many years. Found him a very amicable chap, very nice, understands me. Sometimes we laugh and joke a bit because he can't quite believe what I tell him at times, but nevertheless, I always tell him what we're going to do in the future, and it usually comes to fruition because we have very sound, basic rules that I feel I engage from my personal life and business life. Ed understands the way we work now, and Ed, in the early days, was coming up with some good ideas. He taught me through the SIPs, the SASs, and all the advantages of both and everything else that goes with it. It was his idea, effectively, to put me into this scheme where the scheme could loan the money back to the business and the pension benefit as well. It's probably one of the major and overriding expansion parts of the business that was very, very helpful with Close Brothers. If we could take the pension money and put it into the pension could in return loan the money back to Pylon Equipment as a seed to help grow organically without going to banks. It's very difficult to go to banks in a recession and say, by the way, we lend me money to buy everything that's going bust. Effectively, it was good business for us, and every time we bought a company, we doubled our money. I tend to meet up with Close Brothers, especially Ed, as my direct contact. Although he's changed his roles within the group and he's probably higher up now, he tends to take me on as a personal client within the group, which is the personal touch is quite good there. Effectively, we meet up once a year to discuss the policies and plans. As we're coming into the time where at 55, I may well have to do things differently. And as we get to the point of where the scheme is at its maximum, there are more decisions to be made, and the way we attribute money and how we place money and how we use money is become more important. So this is where Close Brothers now probably having to do a bit more work, probably a lot more work in relation to making sure that we don't breach limits and guidelines and plan the future forward, because of course I have family and people to consider as well as myself as and when we progress through the pension world and the rest of our lives.